Hey, it's Khalees. If you're new, welcome, and if you're not new, welcome back. Today I'm going to be sharing some Pidgin words and phrases that I've encountered during my time at home. And so, just so you know, the words and phrases on this list may be heard in a variety of contexts, including work or school, or even grocery shopping at the supermarket. If you're interested in learning more, I encourage you to watch my other video on Hawaii words and phrases, take a look at blog posts and news articles, and as well as the other resources linked below, or do a quick Google search on your own. And without further ado, here are 10 everyday Pidgin words and phrases that I've heard while growing up in Hawaii and during my time back home. For real means "are you serious?" and is usually, if not always, used in a question form. For example, if a friend tells you some surprising news or fact, you may respond by saying "for real," prompting them to elaborate on their fact or story. In Hawaii, we use words usually reserved for family members like auntie, uncle, sister, brother, even for people that we don't consider family, like strangers. Auntie and uncle are reserved for people who are older than you, while sister and brother are used for people who are your age or younger. Once you've gone from being sister or brother to an auntie or an uncle, you know that you're getting old. Here's a quick story. To preface, my dad looks young for his age and has even been mistaken for my brother. So one time when he was paying at the cashier for something with my brother, apparently the person at the cashier called my dad uncle. And my dad was surprised because that doesn't usually happen to him. And my brother was on the side cracking up because of my dad's facial expression. And then the poor guy at the cashier was like confused, probably because my dad did look older than him. A lot of the time, if someone is using Pidgin, they may use "the" instead of "the." So I've seen this quite a bit, so if you're living in Hawaii, this is something that you'll likely encounter. There is a huge Japanese influence in Hawaii because of our close proximity to Asia and history of Japanese laborers traveling here to do plantation work in the islands, to name a few. I meaning yes or okay is one of many Japanese words that have been adopted here in Hawaii. Although I typically only hear people who are of Japanese ancestry use this word, practically everyone who has lived in Hawaii or for a few years or grown up here knows what it means. Skosh and small kind can be traced back to different languages. Skosh, for example, comes from the Japanese word skoshi, which means the same thing as small kind. For example, if I'm sharing a beer with my mom, and as we do sometimes, she may ask me how much I want. If I only want a little bit, I could respond with skosh. I'm not sure if there's a clear meaning or definition for this, but "ya" is sometimes added at the end of sentences. The closest translation I could think of in English was "right" or "really." If you are a Mandarin Chinese speaker who has learned the language from people in Taiwan, the usage is similar to adding "o" or "a" at the end of a sentence. I put these two words together because they're like two sides of the same coin. For the most part, people don't really mention a particular race when describing a person's behavior or characteristics. What does that mean? Well, let's start with the meanings of hali and hapa. So hali means foreigner, but for the most part, for locals, the word is synonymous with a white person. So now this word has its problems. For one, if we're going to use the definition that hali means foreigner, then technically everyone on the island who isn't Hawaiian is hali, but that's not how the word is used in actual practice. Hali is also sometimes can have a negative connotation, just as the term white people on the U.S. mainland operates sometimes. For example, someone might say, What is that Holly person doing? Hapa is used to refer to someone of mixed ancestry. The word is supposed to refer to someone who is a mix of Hawaiian and some other, at least one other race or ethnicity. But that's not what actually happens in practice. For the most part, Hapa is used to describe anyone who is mixed, whether they be Japanese, white, Chinese, Hawaiian, or some other combination. Interestingly, you don't really hear people who are the same race, for example, Japanese, Chinese, described as Hapa. Unlike Hali, the word Hapa doesn't have as strong of that negative sting associated with it, though being Hapa can have that like exoticism, I guess, associated with it. For example, a person may make a post on Instagram or some other kind of social media platform about their quote beautiful Hapa boyfriend. Thanks, meaning thanks, is a word that you may hear from time to time. I've seen and heard it used more as a pun, maybe because my family is kind of punny. For example, my dad has this t-shirt, or has a shirt with a fish on the back that says thanks. And it's one of his favorite shirts. This word is typically used with children, particularly small children, though I've also heard it being used with pets. Anyways, if you know Mandarin, then the equivalent would be niao niao. For example, a parent may ask their child, "You have to shishi before leaving the house." Hake means Chinese, but it's used to refer to someone who's cheap. So this usage probably derives from that stereotype that Chinese people are cheap, but I have no evidence to support that claim, so it could be for a completely different reason. I grew up in a household that tried to minimize waste and reduce, reuse, recycle whenever possible. And so, for example, we used dirty water from our fish tanks to water plants, fed roaches, centipedes, and other insects to our pet chickens, and then later ate the chicken's eggs. And we also buried invasive fish that my dad and brother shot while spearfishing in our backyard to be used as fertilizer. Some people may view these behaviors as smart and resourceful, while others may see them as being cheap. Regardless of your personal take, and for the sake of this example, one could say, Kalisa's family is so pake that they don't water their plants with clean water, feed garbage to their pets, and won't buy fertilizer because they can get it for free from the ocean instead. If you'd like a quick recap, here are the 10 everyday words and phrases that we covered today in this video. And that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this video helpful or interesting, please like, comment, and subscribe. I'd appreciate any suggestions for new content as well. Bye-bye!